Okay, perfect. So hello from me. Yes, Maria, unfortunately, she could not join us. She works with the animals hands-on every day, and now it's a very, very busy period. So it will just be me today. So I'm here to talk about the situation in Greece, and mainly from the perspective of a wildlife rehabilitation center, that is ANIMA. So let's talk a bit about the public awareness of the issue in Greece. The vast majority of the public in Greece are unfortunately unaware of how big a threat bird strikes are to wildlife. There have been some initiatives from time to time to bring the issue to the attention of people, and there was like a recent book almost 2 years ago, and some initiatives on TV and newspapers, but nothing really massive to mobilize a lot of people. It still remains a very unknown issue to most people. And there have been a few initiatives on public infrastructure or private infrastructure, but as you can see from this very um, characteristic example in Athens, this is the big highway that we have. There hasn't been much, and what have been done is not really effective with these raptor stickers. In this highway, there have been days when it was first built that even 100 bears were found dead on the side of the road. So we can see that even this implementation, it was not effective from the beginning. However, in this presentation, we'll focus more on what happens in residential buildings, and this is because of the nature of the work of ANIMA. ANIMA is an NGO that focuses on the protection of Greek wildlife through its rehabilitation. So what happens? People find injured animals and they bring them to us in ANIMA in the center of Athens. And then we determine the cause of the injury, we record the case, and then we take the animal into our care and make the necessary procedure for its rehabilitation. So the data that we collect information based on the observations that we make there on the spot, and also from the testimonies of the people who found it. So in the case of an animal that comes to us and was found under a glass surface, we can say that it hit a window, or if it has very characteristic symptoms of that injury. Since 2005, that ANIMA was founded, we have cared for more than 55,000 wild animals. Most of them are birds. We have started systematically recording collisions with windows since 2014. And since then, many hundreds of wild birds have been admitted due to this phenomenon. And the number is steadily increasing. In the last 8 years, we cared for 1,003 wild birds from 81 different species after they collided with windows. And there is an increase in the number of birds that we find every year. And that's true even if we take into account the general increase in admissions that we have. So we can say that this is an issue that is not only here, but it's growing every year. The most common species that we found are collar doves, sparrows, blackcaps, blackbirds, and sparrowhawks, which is possibly a bit different from what other studies have found, because from our perspective, is the animals that are brought to us, so we don't really get the exact same picture that studies in the field might show. So these are pictures that people sent us from the sites that they found the animals. As far as sparrowhawks go, we have this very interesting picture. Because as you know, sparrowhawks are birds of prey who hunt other birds in the air. And in some cases, we have a very interesting phenomenon, which is a double collision. So, for example, if this robin is trying to escape the sparrowhawk, they might both collide on a window, and they might be found next to each other and brought to us. Other birds that are found are very common are robins, thrushes, various species of owls like barn owls and eagle owls, swifts, warblers, and others. We see a bit of seasonality in our data. This is the seasonality of our regular admissions. So we see a big peak in the summer, which is expected. But as far as bird strikes go, we see a different issue. It's we see two big peaks, one in the beginning of autumn and one in spring. This could be partially due to migration patterns of the birds, but at the same time, this could be affected by the condition of the environment. I will remind you that our cases are mostly birds who hit residential buildings, And in Greece, in the summer, it's very warm, and people open the windows. They have screens for insects. So most of the collisions that happen in the winter are avoided in the summer, even if there are more birds around. So most of our cases come from the urban and peri-urban area of Athens. And when I say most, 93% of our cases, which is a very big proportion. There are some possible reasons. The biggest could be that there are more bird strikes because there are more glass surfaces in a big city compared to rural areas. There are more people, as you might know, in Athens. There's half of the population of Greece lives in Athens. So more people means more people that can find the animal and bring it to us. It's also closer to ANIMA, so there are more chances that somebody will bring an animal to our care. And there are more locations where the birds are easier to spot. Athens is by no means the greenest city in the world, so there are a lot of surfaces where it's just road or pavement, so people can find the bird and bring it to us. Our data has some inherent limitations, and that limits the conclusions we can draw from them. We heavily depend on somebody finding a bird and bringing it to us very quickly after the collision. So if a bird collides on a window and somebody happens to pass by and they bring it to us, we will record. But if it happens that the cat finds the bird first, unfortunately, that is lost from what we record. And unless it is apparent from the location that the animal was found, we cannot be sure that what happened was a collision with a glass. And unless the bird also has some very characteristic symptoms, we will not log it as such. We might log it as an undetermined accident. As a result, our data represents a very, very small and currently very difficult to estimate subset of real-world cases. I think before it was mentioned that around 80 to 85% of the birds that collide with glass die. So our cases represent maybe the remaining 50%, probably even less than that. An initiative that ANIMA has is Paratiro. It's a website and an application where it's focused on citizen science, and people can, when they find injured or dead animals, they can record them on the spot, giving very detailed explanations and pictures and the exact location that the animal was found. And observations like these can help us get a clear view of the situation. And it seems from our efforts that people are very eager to provide information on the case, and they can take pictures, they can inspect nearby windows for feathers and other marks. So projects like this can help us get a very clear, better idea of what happens. So to conclude, data from like the ones we have in ANIMA and other wildlife rehabilitation centers can be very, very valuable because we have a lot of data, and I'm sure in other countries it's the same. But we need the support of field studies so that we know what our data represents and how we can extrapolate it to actual wild populations. You can find more information on ANIMA on our website, wildanima.gr, on our Facebook and Instagram. And I want to thank our founders, the Bono Foundation, who funded this research, and you for your attention. Thank you.